Hi everybody, welcome to the Lake Effect Gardener. My name is Jim. In today's project, we're going to be doing some upcycling. So we're going to be building something out of objects that were basically discarded. And we're going to create something fun and whimsical that you can enjoy and that other people can enjoy as well. Now, I've already made this before, this project that we're doing. I made one for myself a while ago, but I thought it would be fun to make a video and do another one. And I'm hoping to improve upon the design that I have already had. This is completely, I had no plans for this whatsoever. It was just kind of something that came up to me. I've seen examples of this project at different crafts shows, and I've seen them on movies before like that. But this is something that happened completely organic. So I hope you enjoy this video. We're going to just take a small moment and I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to be building, because it does hang outside my back door. Before we head to the shed to commence our project, I'm just going to show you the prototype of what I'm going to be building today. And this is what we got right here. This is a Silverware wind chime. Completely upcycled from things that people didn't want anymore. So the sound that comes off of them when it becomes windy is quite lovely. And I have these forks connected to, on fishing line, connected to this old wrought iron garden edge. There were several of these. I believe this one and one other one had the legs broken off of them. So I upcycled it. It's lovely. There's a very Victorian feel to it. And I love the look of the vintage forks hanging off of it. And when it's windy, it really is beautiful and very a soothing sound. So that is what we're building today, folks. So this project doesn't require a great deal of tools, but I will start from the left and move over one at a time. The first thing I have here is a Ziploc bag that's just filled with old silver plate utensils. Now, these have been well loved. The silver plate might be coming off of it, but silver plate is really, really important. You should use silver plate, because if you try using stainless steel, you're not going to get the sound that you want when they hit together in the wind. It just does not sound the same. It doesn't have that kind of ethereal, effervescent sound. Stainless steel just sounds like plunking pans, kind of. It's not very nice sounding. So along with that, I have some steel wire. It's galvanized, okay, 24 gauge, I believe. And then some jute twine, and this is an old tea tin. Okay, so I got some jute twine in there, and I've got some scissors attached to it. You're gonna need that. Tea is completely optional, but highly suggested. All right. We have a hammer. We have a pair of wire cutters, and this particular wire cutter has pliers at the top, so you'll be able to do twisting and stuff like that. Okay. You'll need a cordless drill or a cordful drill, and I have a 1/8 inch drill bit in this. Anything that's thin will be fine for this project, and I believe this is a diamond tipped drill tip, which is, I don't feel like it's necessary, but it actually makes the job a lot easier. I have over here just a block of wood. You'll see why we need that. Here's just an example of what the old silverware looks like. So it's very decorative, right? But it's been well loved. Okay, and then the last is, this was the second piece of that wrought iron garden trimming that I had. And the first one, obviously, you saw on the very first wind chime that I showed you. This is the other one. So I had two. This is the second one. And there's supposed to be legs coming off the bottom of them. They broke off. So I also made it a point to spray paint this. So it has kind of a hammered copper look to it. So you could spray paint, any color that you want. You don't necessarily need something like this. You could also just use a plain block of wood if you wanted to, or something nicer than that. So these are the supplies that we need, and now we're going to get underway. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to take our silverware, which is very shapely and curvy, okay, and we want to flatten them. We want to make them completely flat. So that's why we have the block of wood. Reason number one why we have the block of wood. So I like to turn it over so that the tines are pointing down in case there's any mishaps. Am I wearing goggles? No. Sorry. Okay, take your hammer, and all you're gonna do is you're just gonna beat the living daylights out of it until it's flat like a pancake, okay? I'm sorry if this is loud. Okay. Didn't take much. Does it have to be perfectly flat? No. Remember, when you're creating something, I feel like the imperfections give it more character. So you don't have to, you don't have to make it completely flat. But that was really easy to do. Okay? Just a piece of wood and a hammer. Beautiful. So I'm going to get to doing the other ones, and then I'm going to show you exactly how many pieces of silverware I have flattened. Okay? Okay. So I did 9 pieces of silverware. And just for the record, I like forks. I think they look really interesting, but you could easily do knives, and you can easily do spoons. Spoons probably take the most because of the cup. You have to really bang them down pretty hard. And I do have one spoon that I did include in this. Okay, it looks like a lollipop. All right, so I have 8 forks and 1 spoon. So I like this number because whenever I'm building anything, I like to add a little symmetry, okay? Because I feel that symmetry kind of ties everything together. So this spoon essentially is going to hang centrally. And then we'll have 4 forks on one side and 4 forks on the other side. So that's what these are going to look like. The next step now we have to do is we have to drill holes in each one of these utensils. Okay, and obviously when it comes to the fork and the spoon, we're going to want to do it at the point that doesn't have the actual utensil bit. So we want to do it at the very, very top. Okay, so for that, I'm going to bring back my piece of wood because it's going to protect the table that's underneath it. All right, I'm going to take my drill bit and make sure that you have a really, really good drill bit, okay, so that it'll work. Otherwise, you're going to be putting in a lot of muscle and you're not going to be getting much results, okay? So I'm going to start doing these. I'm going to show you just for a couple of seconds what that's going to look and sound like, and then I'm going to show you once they're all done, okay? So here we go. Okay, everything's drilled. 9 pieces of dinnerware, flatware, holy, okay? Try to keep it as central as possible. If it's not, no big deal, okay? Any type of imperfection lends to the aesthetic of the homemade craft. So there we have it. So now the next project that we have to do, so the utensils are good to go. The next thing we have to do is we're going to be driving holes through the bottom of this, okay? And this is wrought iron, so it's going to take a little bit more, a little bit more muscle, a little bit more elbow grease. But this drill bit does work. So I'm going to, since I have 9 utensils, I'm just going to drill 9 holes. I'm going to start from the center, and then I'm going to work my way out one at a time on each side. Try to make them as even as possible. Is there any measurement happening here? No. No, I never measure with these types of things. Like I said, the more imperfection I feel, the more character it has. So I'm going to get on with that. I'm going to start with the central hole first, and then I will work my way out. Whew. All right. So I've got all my holes. Are they perfect? No. But did I get them done? Yes, I did. And it's still going to work. It's still going to be fabulous. I can't wait for you to see it. The next thing that you want to do is you want to create a hanger for this. Okay, so it's going to hang from somewhere, whether it's your house or your shed or wherever. Okay, we want to create a hanger for this. So for that, I'm going to be using this jute twine. Okay, I suggest doing this before you put any of the silverware on, just because it's a lot easier. Take my word for it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take 3 almost equal lengths of this jute twine, Okay. And what we're going to do, we want to make it nice and strong. Jute is a wonderful form of string, but it does have a tendency after a while to lose its oomph, and it will fall apart. Okay. All right, so we got 3 equal lengths. This is really, really long. I purposely made it longer because I'm not sure how long I want to make the actual hanger for this. But we're going to knot the end, and we're going to braid this, or as my British friends would call it, a plait. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just use my drill to hold this down. So I'm just going to give this a quick braid. And this is going to look really nice. It is so hot in here right now. I'm glad I wore black because honestly, my t-shirt is currently completely soaked through. The sun is just beating down. It's in the high 80s here today, and it's absolutely muggy. And there was supposed to be some rain today, but I'm hearing thunder. It's all bark and no bite today. So I do hope we do get some rain though, because my garden desperately needs it. Okay, I doubt that I'm gonna need this much, but better to be safe than sorry. All right, and get to the end. I'm just gonna give it another twist, give it another knot. All right, there we go, nice and durable. I'm gonna cut off the excess and save that for something else. Okay. Actually, this looks to be the perfect length, so I'm going to stick with this. All right, this is a very decorative piece of wrought iron. I don't know, it's kind of reminiscent of the English coat of arms. You know? I don't know. Anyhow, so I'm going to take one side and I'm going to feed it through one of the ends here and give it a knot. I want to make this look as clean as possible. So I'll knot it once and I'll knot it twice so that it's really strong and durable. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Run it through, knot it once, and knot it twice. If it lets me. Come on. All right. There we go. A nice sturdy hanger. And this is kind of heavy. So I'm happy that I've put this jute twine on here, and I'm happy that I braided it too for extra durability. Okay? Now the next part is we're going to be finally affixing the utensils to this. Okay, so as it happens, when I originally gave you the supply list, to tell you the God's honest truth, I was actually missing one of the most crucial supplies, and that was the fishing line that I used to affix the utensils to the actual hanger. As I was braiding the handle to go on the top of the wind chime, it just kind of popped in my head. I knew exactly where it was, so I went and got it. Here we have it. Monofilament fishing line. High knot strength, abrasion resistance. So it's really durable stuff, and it's very, very thin. So it's going to last a very, very long time. Apparently, it says it can withhold up to 6 pounds of weight. So not too shabby. None of these utensils weigh over 6 pounds, so we'll be good to go. And there's 900 yards in this spool, so I've got plenty. I was really happy that I found it because I knew that I bought a really huge roll of it. So what we're going to do is we're now going to take this fishing line and we're going to knot it in one of the holes. Now, I had already gotten started by doing it, and it's an absolute mess right now, but I'm gonna hold it up here so you can see. Okay, so what I ended up doing is taking one long segment of fishing line, okay, and then I fed it through the hole, and then I knotted it, and now I've got these two little strands that are hanging out. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to end up knotting the utensils on the other end. But I'm going to show you just quickly how I did it so that you know what I'm talking about here. So I'm taking a very nondescript but long piece of fishing line, giving it a cut, and then I'm going to take one end and I'm going to feed it into one of the holes. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to find the middle, okay, make sure the two ends are even, and then I'm going to knot it. I'm going to knot it twice. Okay, flip it under once, do the same thing again, flip it under twice. Okay, and there we have. You can't see it, okay, but there are two strands right here. Okay, so then what we'll do, now that these are all knotted up and ready to go, okay, I'm going to take my first utensil, and it's going to be a fork. All right, I'm going to take it and I'm going to actually hold the two strands that are coming off of it. I'm going to hold them together. Okay, I'm going to take the two strands and I'm going to put them through the hole. Okay, and then I'm going to find whatever my desired length is going to be. I like to keep them, well, the other ones, let's just say the other ones, and this is where I'm making a bit of a change. The other ones that I had hanging out there, the fishing line was really, really long, okay? Which kind of looked cool, but to tell you the truth, on a really, really windy day, the silverware will tend to kind of shake back and forth, and then they'll start to wind up and get stuck to each other. So for this one, I don't want that to happen. So I'm actually going to make the length a lot shorter. Okay, so they don't have a propensity of getting all wound up and snarled. Okay, so just like I did before, I'm going to loop it and I'm going to knot once. And I'm going to knot twice. And it's not easy to do with huge hands. It's like threading a needle. It's not an easy task for me. Okay, here we go. And then I'll cut off the excess. Here we go. So we have the first one hanging on here. I've got 8 more to do. I'm not going to let you languish through those, so I'm going to get to it. Grab yourself a cup of tea, and I will be finished with this as soon as we come back. Okay. It's done. I just cut off all the excess of the fishing line to make it look all neat and purty. And I have to admit that was very fumbly work. Like I said, I've got very, very large hands. So using this tiny filament of nylon string was not easy. It was not having it. The knotting was so much fun, I have to say. That's not true. But I did have some music to keep me company, which is why I turned it off. I turned off the camera while I did the rest of this. I felt like I was getting really frustrated, and I'm like, you know what, Stevie Nicks will make this all better. So I threw on some Stevie Nicks, and she got me through, as she's gotten me through on a lot of things. And I've got it all knotted up and ready to go, and here we have the final result. I'm so excited about this. Ooh. So you notice the utensils, I put them closer together than I had the other ones. That is so they wouldn't get tangled up. And it creates more sound when it's like this. Okay, it doesn't take a great wind gust. So you'll have, something like this with the utensils close together. You'll have this, this kind of ethereal sound even on the least windy of days. So there we have it. Easy project, it really is. And like I said before, you can substitute any of these materials for whatever you like, okay? It doesn't have to be a fancy schmancy wrought iron, blah, blah, blah. You could use a piece of wood. You could use a stick, okay? You can use galvanized piping. It doesn't matter, as long as it's something that's gonna hold on to these. As for the utensils, believe it or not, you don't have to use utensils. I like the way it looks. I think it's quirky and fun. But you could also use skeleton keys. I've seen those used before, or regular keys. What you want to do though is you want to make sure that they actually produce a nice sound. So say you have a couple of skeleton keys and you'd like to make, you know, something like this. Take those two skeleton keys, you know, put a little string through the loop on both of them, okay? And then hit them together. And that way you can hear if they make a really, really pleasant sound or a terribly awful sound. You don't want to go through all that trouble only to find out that, you know, the sound that's coming out is going to sound like it's underwater or something like that. So the world is your oyster. Try anything you like. So that is it for me. I hope you guys really enjoyed this project as much as I did. If you did, or if you have any questions, go ahead and write something down in the comments box. I've been trying to keep on top of those comments as much as possible. Also, if you are new to the Lake Effect Gardener, welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to subscribe, you can hit the subscribe button and then click the bell and you'll receive those notifications. So that's it for me, friends. I don't know what the next video is going to bring us. Yeah, game time decision. But I've got a list a mile long, so I'm not short for ideas here. So if there's anything that you'd like to see, go ahead and put that in the comments box below as well. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Jim, the Lake Effect Gardener, and I will see you next time for something fun, interesting, and hopefully informative. Bye-bye.